Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So yesterday the sell side was much more dominant and that theme continued in the overnight session. So heading into the open, our short-term bias is going to be neutral bearish below the initial resistance zone, but our intermediate-term bias continues to be neutral bullish. And I think today is the day when the market's really going to be testing that intermediate-term bias, and we're going to find out if it's going to continue to be bullish. So heading into the open, on the downside, we have initial support at 63.5 to 66. We have a high volume node at 29.67, and then we have important support at 55.5 to 58.5. And how the market responds to these areas of support is going to affect the intermediate term bias. If the buyers can continue to hold ES above 55.5 to 58.5, then that intermediate term bias can continue to be neutral bullish. But if we get a break and hold below 55.5 to 58.5, then the intermediate term bias would no longer be neutral bullish, and a break and hold below that area would serve as a bearish confirmation, and then we could get range expansion to the downside into the open gap at 44.25, as well as the support areas below. Now on the upside, we have initial resistance at 70.75 to 73.75, and how the market responds there is also going to be very telling. If we can get a breakout back above 70.75 to 73.75, then that would signal buyers regaining control on the smaller time frame, and from there ES could head up into the previous VPOC and previous close at 77.5 and 78.5, and then test the overnight high at 79.5. So right now the market is at or near an important inflection point which can affect or change the intermediate term bias, and the main question today is whether the short-term bearishness is going to win out and end up changing the intermediate term bias, or is that intermediate term neutral bullish bias going to hold and then the market can push back up. And how ES behaves at the initial support zone and 55.5 to 58.5 is going to help us figure out whether the buyers are still maintaining control on the intermediate term time frame, and then on the upside, how the market behaves at 70.75 to 73.75 is going to help determine if the sellers are still maintaining short-term control. If we can take that area out on the upside, then the short-term control can shift from sellers back to buyers, and if that area holds and we end up pushing below 55.5 to 58.5, then that would serve as a confirmation that sellers are in firm control, and that could then change the intermediate term bias. So that is the market context and trade plan heading into the open. Let's see if the buyers can hold it together at initial support or 55.5 to 58.5, and we'll take it from there.